We're here today with Gary Shea, founder, bassist for the band Alcatrazz. They've got a new single out. It's the reworking of their classic Island in the Sun. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, first of all, congrats on the recent court decision here. You're now the one and only Alcatrazz out there. That was a long time coming.
Yeah, never a doubt in my mind. But yeah, we've persevered that little blockage to our history of the band. Kind of an unfortunate thing. It didn't have to happen. Didn't have to have happened, but it did. And now we've locked it down and all is well.
Yeah, I know you and Jimmy Waldo have been with Alcatrazz since day one, and now more than 40 years later, you guys are still playing shows, making music. I mean, it's great you're able to kind of move on with a bit of a clean slate here. Yeah,
I mean, it's what we want to do in the first place. I mean, originally it was myself and Graham and Jimmy got together and discussed putting a band together. A band, not a backup band. And like I tell people, side guys don't sign record contracts. And my name and Jimmy's name were on every contract Alcatrazz ever signed. So we started as a group, a Democratic band, and got the other guys. And then a few years ago, we decided to get back together again and got a deal on Silver Lining Records, the three of us. And all was well and fine. Graham gave up his Graham Bonnet band, but he wasn't happy and decided to leave the band and go back to the Graham Bonnet band, which is okay, but we couldn't see how he could leave the group that signed to Silver Lining Records and recording a record at the time to being another Alcatrazz. That didn't make any sense to us. And there were some lawsuits went back and forth from his end of that, which I still think is unfortunate and needless, but it happened. But in the long run, we won. Jim and I beat him out. We had the truth on our side, and they didn't. So that's that story. So onwards and upwards, we're still going, still rocking. 2026 is coming along. It'll be a new record in 2026, and off we go.
Awesome, man. I know you've got a new singer in the band as well, Giles Lavery. Yeah. How have things been gelling with him? Is he officially a member of Alcatrazz now?
Yeah, well, actually, Giles has been the manager of the band since we started going again. And he also manages girls' school and a number of other people. But he's a good singer. He's been with us for a long time, and it's just kind of a natural fit. Rather than try and find somebody else, Giles is always singing the sound checks and doing great. So why don't you just sing? Why look any further than on our own camp? So Giles is the new singer for Alcatrazz. And he sings the old stuff really well. He's got a great voice. So it's going to work out well.
And I know you've got the new single out, a reworking of the classic Island in the Sun. Can you tell us a bit about that and how that all came about?
No, it's just kind of fooling around. I mean, we wanted to put something out in the interim of not being on the road, not recording, and decided to put Island in the Sun out there. And it's a mixture of a few things. And it's great because, I'm playing bass and Giles is singing on it. And Jimmy's on there as well. And also Mark Banquiccia, who was our drummer in the very beginning for the first two albums. And it came out pretty good. The song, as you know, is an old New England song. And when Graham first heard it back, when it was just the three of us, he liked the song. He thought it sounded like he said his quote was, "It sounded like a Motown song." And he wanted to rewrite the lyrics, which he did. And he wrote the lyrics to Island in the Sun. We eventually hired him. And he wrote the little bridge part just before the guitar solo, a little chord change there. And that was the beginning of Island in the Sun. If you look on New England's 5 CD retrospect package that we have out on Cherry Red Records, there's a copy of a song called Take Another Ride. And that's the song, Island in the Sun, with different lyrics and a different singer, different band.
Okay.
But it's kind of cool to compare the two things together and see how they both kind of forked at the road at one point. And both versions are good versions. And that's the history of Island in the Sun. So we put it out again, and it's kind of one of our favorite songs as far as we've been playing it forever, since day one, compared to some of the other songs we don't do anymore. And, it's one of our more popular songs. That and God Bless Video are our most popular songs. And so we decided to put it out and have a good time. Came out pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, for sure. And I know it's been a couple of years since the last album, Take No Prisoners, and You mentioned there you're working on a new one, and we're going to see that, you think, here in the next year or so?
Yeah, another record in 2026. There's also some tour dates coming up in Sweden, Finland, Belgium, from this coming Thanksgiving into Christmas time, the end of 2025. So there'll be more dates with that. That'll be with Girls' School and Bangalore Choir as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. I know you guys playing with Girls' School. That's another band that's been on the road here for, Jeff, probably 45 years or so.
Yeah.
That'll be awesome for the fans to see you guys playing together.
We actually played together, Girls' School in Alcatrazz, when Yngwie was in the band. We played together in Oregon on a one-off gig someplace in Portland, Oregon one night. And it was like 1984, I think. And Girls' School and Alcatrazz played together way back then. So we've been friends for a long time. They're great girls. They're like our sisters. And we've been traveling together for the last 3 or 4 years. Done a bunch of tours together, European tours, UK tours, American tours, as a package deal. And it works out really good for both bands. So kind of an in-house production thing.
Excellent. Yeah, you think you'll be playing more shows next year, maybe through the U.S., or could we see maybe some Midwest dates?
Well, hopefully, yeah. It's kind of hard, touring-wise. It's hard to hit every place. The band hit the East Coast and West Coast last year, from New Orleans to Montreal, then kind of Seattle to San Diego, but really didn't get they got to Detroit. They didn't get to go to Chicago or St. Louis, Kansas, all the other places we've been before that. So hopefully, yeah, be more dates, more shows, see what happens.
Excellent. Yeah, hopefully that works out. And you mentioned it, I know early on, Alcatrazz obviously had Yngwie Malmsteen on guitar, and then eventually Steve Vai, and now you've got Joe Stump in the band. I mean, you guys are really keeping the legacy of the guitar virtuosos intact here.
We collect them all. It's not chopped liver, that's for sure. I mean, we're kind of the Yardbirds of the 80s as far as that goes. And very few bands can brag about that in the way that we can. And we're very proud of that. It's allowed us to make some really interesting music over the years. We've had some different styles, and we're continuing, with Joe in the band to stretch even further and do more music. So it's kind of a cool thing. We're not locked into one specific thing that we've been banging away for the last 40 years on, one specific thing like some bands get stuck into doing.
Sure.
So I like the idea that we can branch out and do different things and get to experiment with music. So
Joe's with you in the studio here for the new stuff here coming out next year as well?
Oh yeah, he's been whole time he's been in the band. He was originally in the Grand Bonnet band. Like I said, when we decided to go for another Alcatrazz deal, we took Mark Banquetria, the drummer, and Joe Stump from the Grand Bonnet band, and then Jimmy and I and Graham started the first album off and running. So yeah, this will be the fourth record with Joe. Gonna teach us how to shred at the Berklee College of Music in Boston. He's been doing it for like 20-something years. He's associate professor of music. It's pretty cool. We're on the road. He's out there giving guitar lessons and Zoom meetings and stuff. Italy someplace. He's in this hotel for an hour teaching somebody. Yeah. He's got a pretty full schedule. He has a full plate.
Definitely.
He's a busy guy.
Well, Gary, I know you've been busy as well, obviously working on the new music and the shows coming up, and you just had a book out as well, No Bass, No Party. What was that experience like for you putting the book together?
Well, I was approached by a publishing company from Canada, and they said, would you like to write a book about being in the music business, not so much the rock and roll party part of it, all the road stories about getting arrested somewhere, but about the music business. And I thought, yeah, that'd be kind of cool. So I've got a lot of experience with that ever since I was in high school growing up. And I was fortunate when I was in high school to be in a pretty good band and kind of took it from there, and it's taken me all around the world. So I wrote a book describing all the ups and downs of that, meeting people and things falling through and bands getting together, bands breaking up, record contracts, publishing contracts, being in the right place at the right time, record deals busted, working with great producers, producing ourselves, traveling it. The whole idea is about not giving up and perseverance in the music business. And a lot of young kids aren't really taught that part of it. When you're young, you learn all the music part of it. But no one really discusses it's 85% business and 15% music. And there's a lot of contracts, and the publishing thing is a big, big sticking point. And you can lose your shirt for the rest of your life if you're not careful going into the ring. They'll just say you got to sign this. It's a no big deal, and they'll give you all these excuses. We got to get our money back from you guys, and this is how we're going to do it. And we'll give it back to you someday, and they won't. And so many artists have been messed over by that. The band Kansas, John Fogerty spent 20 years trying to get his music back.
Right. And
so I discussed that in the book. And the no bass, no parties, being a bass player, that you take the bass. A lot of people don't know what the bass does, people that aren't musicians. And I tell them, go out to your car and turn the bass off the radio and see how that sounds. And now what do you got? Because the bass is the heartbeat of the band. It's like link between the drums and the melody. And it's what you dance to. It's what you groove to. If any kind of, whether it's disco or funk or country music, it's the bass that you're bopping along to when you're driving your car, or you're walking, or you're jogging. You're following the bass line. And it's the heartbeat of the band. And I, at one point, started off playing guitar, and one day I picked up a bass and went, wow, look at this. This is pretty cool. Whole different world. And I became a bass player around the age of 16, I think, and never looked back, never sold my guitar. Got a bunch of basses. And so I wrote the book about that, just as kind of a primer. And plus my own story of where I've been in travels. Everyone was said, oh, you got to write a book. You got these great stories. You should write a book. You should write a book. And so I didn't want to write about New England versus the Arkansas State Police or Alcatrazz versus the Secret Service in Boston, even though we won both those contests. But that's not what this book is about. Maybe the next book would be more about that kind of thing. Sure. The fun, mooning Ted Nugent, whatever, all those kind of stories. So that's what the book is about.
Excellent. Yeah, you've definitely had quite the career. And again, Alcatrazz, the one and only, with Gary Shea now back here with the reworking of Island in the Sun. And you mentioned the tour with Girls School and the new album coming up. Is there anything else, maybe? I know that's a lot, but is there something else we should be looking out for?
I don't know. It's kind of. I think we covered most of the bases. We're pretty busy. We're putting all this stuff together and getting ready to go back out again. So we'll see what happens. I've been doing the book thing, and it kept me busy doing podcasts and interviews, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun to say I'm an author. That's something new in my life, and I've had a lot of fun with that. Maybe, like I said, I'll write a second book with war stories in it, something like that. But yeah, I think we've pretty much covered the deal. We're still ready to go. We've won the lawsuit. And there's a lot of people that are disheartened by that, but that's just the way it is. I mean, we've all gotten a lot of older. No one's getting any younger. All the bands are missing key players at this point in time. Pick any band out there. I don't think there's any band out there that's got original members other than the band New England. But the four of us can get together and play. And, Aerosmith can't say that. Cheap Trick can't say that. AC/DC can't say that. Kiss can't say that. Go down the line. And I can't think of any bands that are major bands that have been together for 40 years that have the original guys, other than New England. Sure. We don't play that much, but when we do, it's a lot of fun. That's another part of my world that I love a lot too, is our New England music. I'm proud of that whole series of records we made, which is a different kind of style than Alcatrazz. And it's kind of cool that Jimmy Weld and I can have our feet in both boats like that. Some guys can't do that. We're lucky to be able to do that. So
definitely. Awesome, man. Again, thank you so much for your time. It's been an honor speaking with you, and I'm excited for the new album, and hopefully we can speak again sometime. Thanks again.
Anytime. Yeah. Great talking to you too. I really appreciate it.
And again, that was Gary Shea of the band Alcatrazz. Their new single, the reworking of the classic Island in the Sun, is out now.